There's not a different mechanism or motivation besides yet another thing we have to do.
I greatly appreciate your brutal honesty with that. Thank you very much. I've always felt that you were very forthcoming and honest on those realities of how a state government is done.
Some of the Legislative Audit Commission hearing yesterday morning at the Illinois State House as fall veto session is back in session. Day 2 today after day 1. Not a lot happening. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. And go to thecentersquare.com. It's where I'm the editor with the team from Illinois. We've got Jim Talamonte up in Chicago. He is monitoring a House committee hearing about the transit fiscal cliff, something that we anticipate they could possibly address in the 6 days they have for fall veto session. And those 6 days underway now. We're in day 2. All indication is that not a ton is going to advance this week. There's even some rumblings, and again, these are rumors, and it happens every time we get on the ground at the Capitol. Somebody says, I hear they're canceling. Somebody with knowledge told me Thursday, at least for one chamber, will be a day that, what was the terminology? If activities are needed or something to that effect. So it was like a roundabout way of saying they could cancel. So not sure what's going to happen Thursday, but here we are today. We've got tons going on. Yesterday, the Legislative Audit Commission met. They had 3 audits they were reviewing. One being the Central Management Services. And even though this wasn't necessarily a clear audit, State Senator Chapin Rose had an issue.
And so if you're in SIP, you've been waiting 18 to 24 months or longer to get your reimbursements. And I really honestly think we need to figure out something that takes account of reality. In fact, if I recall correctly, our esteemed governor had an entire point in his budget address last year about ghost networks, and yet ghost networks popped up in both the Delta Dental offerings in my world, and also, quite frankly, popped up again in the primary health care insurance for state and university employees in my world when Health Alliance dropped out, and we had to deal with that, and we're still dealing with that with your office, and I do appreciate the help your office has given in dealing with that. But, this whole ghost network thing is a nightmare.
So this ghost network idea with CMS managing the health insurance plans for state employees, you've got tens of thousands of state employees. If they don't have a plan in network, that's going to cost them more. And you've got all these questions about in-network, out-of-network, ghost networks. So CMS being involved in that, obviously Rose brought that up during the Legislative Audit Commission. And so the Legislative Audit Commission is a bipartisan group. It's got equal number of Republicans, equal number of Democrats, and they can order audits, specific audits. If you recall, we had that audit come out about how much the state was spending for non-citizen health care subsidies. So that was a specific audit that the Audit Commission ordered. You've got their ability to do these oversight of regular audits, and CMS being one of those, being one of the 3 audits that they reviewed yesterday. One of the other things with CMS, and this has been a topic before in the past, just to kind of show how Illinois operates, and we've got 370 plus boards and commissions. And these are different types of boards and commissions dealing with, public safety issues or juvenile justice or, some tax review type of board or commission or an arts commission. So we've got 370 of these. A lot of them have vacancies on the boards. These are gubernatorially appointed board members. And there's other members that can be appointed as, just depends on how the commission was set up by law. But the Central Management Services in the state of Illinois manages all of their kind of operations, but they get dinged in these audits because these boards have vacancies, and there's concerns about zombie boards, right? They're not really doing anything, even though they've got a line item and their members are appointed and such. State Representative Amy Ellick agreed there's a conundrum there with Central Management Services, who does not have any authority to appoint people to boards, getting dinged in an audit because of, not having members appointed to the boards.
So the governor's office is getting an audit finding for failure to appoint, or the House Minorities Leader. Is that common to have those?
It is common.
So, okay. So again, you're sort of getting dinged on something that you don't have any control.
Interesting. And that's, again, just a review of state government, how it operates. Another issue that CMS had was certain types of employee performance reviews not being completed in a timely manner. And the director of DHS, Raven Devon, talking with State Representative Amy Ellick, said that there's not really any incentive to have these reports done, even though they make it a priority, and they're not even sure what they do with these reports.
At every level, we're trying to make sure that it is at the focal point of HR and also our managers. But the loud part unsaid is they're not tied to anything. So there's not a different mechanism or motivation besides yet another thing we have to do.
Again, this is governments telling governments what to do, which can lead to multiple steps and barriers and make things maybe less efficient. So you've got kind of a recognition of that in that statement. And Amy Ellick, state representative, Republican from Alton, said that she appreciated the candor.
I greatly appreciate your brutal honesty with that. Thank you very much. I've always felt that you were very forthcoming and honest on those realities of how state government is done.
Again, we're looking at the Legislative Audit Commission, which met yesterday morning on the first day of fall veto session. So that was one bipartisan commission that meets. They meet every month, and they look at audits because the Auditor General for the state of Illinois is pretty busy auditing Illinois. And if you're ever interested in going and reading those audits, I would strongly encourage you to go to the Illinois Auditor General's website. Just type in Illinois Auditor General, and you'll be able to find that. It's some dense reading, but you'll get a good insight on how the state government operates or doesn't operate properly. So another bipartisan committee met yesterday, and they meet monthly. It's the Joint Committee on Administrative Rules, JCAR. They look at the administration's rulemaking process. So when you have a law that's passed, it says, by rulemaking, you've got to do X, Y, and Z. The agency goes and crafts those rules, comes back to JCAR and says, here's the rules. JCAR essentially says, well, all right, let's go. So the bipartisan committee provides some oversight. Well, there's also the emergency rulemaking process that agencies can use, and the Illinois Department of Corrections used an emergency rule to start scanning prisoner mail. And the effort's been talked about for years in the state of Illinois, with concerns of illicit substances being laced on paper, and that paper getting into the hands of inmates, and those inmates either smoking it or whatever, and getting inebriated. And then you get to the possible negative health impacts on prison guards. So there's been concern about this for a long time, and there was even a push last year to have the Department of Corrections implement prison mail scanning so that inmates get mail on a tablet instead of the physical paper. That way it doesn't get into and leak into the prison system. So the rules for that in place through emergency, but JCAR, State Representative Curtis Tarver, he's been concerned about the timing of all of this and maybe the lack of communication as well.
It led me to believe that maybe we were prioritizing the games and things that generate revenue as opposed to scanning the mail, which I understand you all had an MOU to do some time ago. So that is a long-winded way of saying, like, what is going on with the tablets generally? Was it a prioritization of games and apps as opposed to scanning?
The Illinois Department of Corrections Director, LaToya Hughes, said no. They did not prioritize the apps to have games.
I've tried to explain it in prior meetings, similar to, the plane is being built as it's flown. We are continually building items onto that tablet so that it has all of the functionality that we need, but games were certainly not prioritized.
So we heard last month at the last JCAR meeting, because again, they meet monthly, this issue was on the docket, and you had officials from IDOC, the Department of Corrections, questioned about the app company and how they chose that app company, that tablet company, and is the tablet company getting money? How are they paid? Are they getting money from in-app purchases that inmates make? Those types of things. So moving on, you've got State Representative Stephen Reich also with concerns about the timing and communication of all of this.
This isn't going to get done by our December JCAR meeting, because there's a whole lot of stuff. There's a whole lot of things that have to be done between now and then that don't appear to be getting done. The fact that you waited until September 29th to start scanning irrespective of whether there was a problem with the app or not, tells me that there's a certain amount of unseriousness going on here.
So Reich worried about whether or not the implementation of this going correctly with the important oversight and accountability that there should be. And is it genuine that they're moving forward in this fashion? State Representative Ryan Spain also saying the timing of all of this and the communication needs to be better.
We received some answers to questions from our September meeting on Friday last week. We have to accelerate and improve the collaborative process between the Department of Corrections and this committee. As I mentioned, and we've discussed, we have a timeliness problem here. And I have to say, it's a timeliness issue really created by the department. When you file emergency rules one day after the August JCAR meeting, and then wait 45 days before you begin the implementation of the subject for which the emergency rules were filed, we have now created a problem for the beginning of the year 2026 on where we go next.
Well, where do we go next for the oversight of state government? Well, monthly bipartisan oversight hearings, Legislative Audit Commission, the Joint Committee on Administrative Rules, and these are two bipartisan committees that provide oversight of the Pritzker administration and other state agencies, how they spend, and we'll continue to track all of that for you here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Go to thecentersquare.com, get the headlines in your inbox each and every weekday morning. Again, at thecentersquare.com.